So the first time I had my live tonight, my developer called me, and I had to take that mid-call, and that fucked up the live. And then the second time I went live tonight, someone was logging into my main Gmail account, and then I'm like, oh shit. But then I called my developer, and it was actually him. So like, that's okay. So at the end of the day, now I'm ready. So I hope that there's no confusion and that we can get a good audience again. But this is the final stream. And I plan on going for hours. I've got some coffee, I've got some cigarettes, and I've got nothing but time. Time that I'm sitting here alone, doing nothing, because I'm too broke. Because I've been spending everything and laying down the foundations for great things. So we're going to talk a little bit about wealth tonight. What wealth means, what wealth is, how you can create wealth, how you can create wealth. Well, let's start off with the fact that wealth stems from one thing, really. All wealth. All wealth stems from delaying gratification. Yeah. For saying, I could have one burger today, or I can have 2 burgers tomorrow. Yeah. Or 3 burgers tomorrow. And when you start to realize that delaying gratification creates opportunity, yeah? And that having more resources also gathers you opportunity. Well, then you want to start creating opportunities and gathering resources and gathering tools to the point where you're generating for nothing, you see? And at a certain point, after so many years, maybe 30 in my case, you have so many tools that an imbecile could make money. An imbecile, a literal imbecile. You know what I mean? I can get you HBO Max for $10 a year. A year. And there you are paying $15 a month for it. You know what I mean? So when I've got power like that, well, I can say, well, I can get it for $10. Hey, how's it going, April? Nice to see you. And I love that you said hi. You're so sweet. Please like and subscribe, huh? How are you doing tonight, April? You seem like a sweet girl. So anyway, generating wealth comes from delaying gratification, yeah? And as you delay gratification, you start to build resources which can be used for future endeavors, yeah? So I've always been good at delaying gratification, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm delaying gratification. I'm saying, well, if I do these lives and I do my teachings and I do all these things, eventually one day it will pay off. You see what I'm talking about? So you do these things for another day, not for eating and putting food in your mouth right now. And when you can get past that eat, work, sleep cycle, that's when you'll eventually be free, So what you do is you start to gather tools. You start to gather tools, and how do you gather tools? What are tools? Well, tools really, ironically, ready, April? I hope you're still here. Tools are people. People are tools. Oh, that's crazy. People are tools. Yes. Every single person is nothing but a fucking tool, really, at the end of the day, unless they're your friend. And if they're your friend, then they're not a tool. Then you're your friend. You see? So you've got tools and you've got friends. Just like you have girls you fuck and girls you love. And there are girls you date, there are girls that you fuck, and there are girls that you marry. You know what I mean? And I tell you, the most beautiful women in the world are typically not girls that you want to marry, guys. I hate to tell you this. I hate to tell you that top 10 beautiful girl that you see, that 9, that's not the girl you want to marry. You want to marry the 7 or the 8. I promise. At best, if you can even get a 7 or an 8 to marry, which most men can't. But if you can get a girl that's a 7 or an 8, and she's a good girl and she's sweet and everything else, well, you take care of her, and then she's got a 10 personality. Well, which makes her like a 12. I mean, my wife is probably like an 8. She knows she's like an 8. She lacks the tits. She's got the ass. But she doesn't have the tits. And, she's got some things. She's a little older. But I'd say my wife is a solid 7 or 8. I'd say my wife's an 8, to be honest. If I was being just really sincerely candid about the market in general. But I would say that I don't really want a wife that's a 10. Because you're really getting a lot of unwanted attention at that point. You know what I mean? Upon your wife. You're getting guys that are constantly jeering and constantly everything else. And I'll tell you, it's a beautiful thing when you're walking around with a 10. Mm-hmm. When you walk around with a 10, and I have, certain things happen out in society that are kind of crazy. Like, you'll go into a convenience store, right? And you'll go into the convenience store, and the guy behind the counter will be like this. When you buy your shit, he'll be like, "Wow, you got yourself a hottie." You know what I mean? And that's nice, having men respect you for having a beautiful woman. What I liked was having 2 girlfriends. You want to hear the story about the day I bought my Escalade? This is a great story. I love this story. So I had gone to the Cadillac dealership. Now, mind you, I had 2 living girlfriends at the time. 2. And so we went down to the Cadillac dealership, and I just wanted to buy the car in cash, But I tell you, at the Cadillac dealership, this is like a Cadillac dealership in Portland, Oregon. I forget what the name of it was. They started like interrogating my girlfriends. They're like, "Where's he getting all this money? Blah, 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 blah." I'm like, fuck you, dude. I want to buy a car. I'm not trying to get into some tax situation, So eventually I went to a local dealer that I was really close with, and I said, "Dude, just get me an Escalade. Just get me an Escalade." Even though they were a Ford dealership, and GM makes Escalade, they got me the Escalade, So I went to go pick up the Escalade one day, and I had the 2 living girlfriends with me. And they were both dressed very nicely. I was dressed very nicely. We went in. The salesman greeted us. And he said, "Hey, how's it going?" I said, "Great." I introduced him to my one girlfriend, who was the older one. She was 36. I was 36. And, he thought that she was like my girlfriend or my wife. And then the other one reached into my pocket. To get some cigarettes or something. And he said, "Oh, is that your daughter?" I said, "No, it's my girlfriend. They're both my girlfriends." And he looked at me, he's like, "Oh." Now, I'd only been driving a Navigator at the time. And I was like, "Oh, is a Navigator all it takes to get 2 girlfriends?" And I'll never forget the older one of the 2, she was real slick. She was a smart girl. And she said, "You should see our house." But no, they were real good at Sandy Ford. I love Sandy Ford in Sandy, Oregon. Shout out to them. Shout out to Aaron in the service department. Mm. I had a lot of good times at Sandy Ford. But yeah, Rainey, I shouldn't have said her name, but I was always afraid of this one girl that people would look at me like I was something dirty because I was 30 something and she was 20 something. But down here in South America, it doesn't really matter. I mean, sometimes when I walk around with my actual daughter, I'm afraid that people will think that she's like my girlfriend or something because she looks young and she is young, but she's not illegally young, but she looks illegal young. And even then, she's my daughter, so I don't want people to look at me that way. But at the same time, me and my daughter are very close, and maybe I'll touch her head or something like that. I'm thinking, maybe people are thinking, getting the wrong idea. I just think, fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. You know. Really, I have the perfect situation with my wife and my daughter because I'm used to having two girls that I live with as girlfriends, but like with my daughter's just like my daughter, and my wife's just like my wife, but I still get to live with two women and have them both get my coffee and help me with shit and everything else. So it really worked out really well at the end of the day. And I'm pretty happy in life. So today I had a really good day. First, I started out taking care of some really good business. Got like a whole bunch of clients settled. And then I settled out with a couple of other clients. I think if I look at my phone, because it's the weekend, a lot of people aren't responding. A lot of people don't work on the weekends like me, or some of the other people that I do work with that work on the weekends. But I probably made a good 6 or 7 really solid connections today with some new people or old people from coming back. And I think there's some real good things on the horizon with work. So that was a good morning. And then, someone liked, thank you very much. After that, I went and I spent some time with my attorney, who is also my neighbor, and he gave me some really good news. And we decided that we were going to start a business together, where my wife and his wife were going to do all of the work. So we put them to work, and that works out very well. And then I came home and I spent some time with my family, and then we all went out over to her friend's house. And you can look at the live that I did at that point on the way there, as well as going in there. And after that, I made a little video of this beautiful little stand that she gave me. I did a short for that. This beautiful little stand, you know. And then we came home and I spent some time with my wife. And we just sat there and we talked, and eventually I put her to sleep and told her some bedtime stories. Would you like to know the bedtime story I told my wife tonight? It was the story about my mentor and how I met him. And as a tribute to him, I'm going to tell that story right now. Maybe he'll watch this one day. But this man and me, we go back 25 years now. I was young, my mid-20s. I controlled the escort agencies in Las Vegas. I controlled all the escorts in Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. What other cities? I had a presence in Los Angeles, but I never really controlled it, or New York. Though they were just two broad markets, I could never control them. But Vegas, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and especially West Palm Beach, they were super easy to control. Yeah. All I had to do was be able to control the marketing for all of the escorts within those cities. And then at that point, if a girl wanted to work, she had to work through me. And if I didn't want her to work and I could kick her off any platform, well, effectively I had total dominance. And then one day, my partner of my agency in Miami, him and his partner got into a fight. And he ended up kicking the other partner out because the other partner just wanted to live the pimp lifestyle while he did all the work, you know. And, well, at that point, someone started taking down all of his ads. All of them. Every single one. They were searching, but they were searching with an algorithm where they would catch every ad. No matter what I did, they were catching these ads, you know? And it got to the point where we couldn't run business in Miami, at least, after a couple of days. And so he said to me, listen, I don't care. I'll pay you anyway, Shaun. Just take down all of the ads in that section, then. Every single ad. I don't want one girl working if my girls aren't working. So that's exactly what I did. I took down the entire section for escorts off of Craigslist for an entire week. Not one girl peddled her pussy on Craigslist because of me. Every time an ad would go up, it would automatically go down. Just like whenever my ads would go up, they would automatically go down. Until eventually, I went through the backlog of deleting all of the ads that had ever been posted throughout the entire 100-day history. And there were no ads. There were no girls working. And things were getting real in the streets. Things were getting real in the streets. And then one day I got a phone call. Now my number is very hard to get. My actual phone number, you know. And I got a call from this guy. And he's like, yo, dude, why are all my ads going down? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but even if I did, maybe if my ads stopped going down, because I'm having the same problem, brother, that maybe this whole problem would resolve itself. And that day, I made an alliance with a king where he became my mentor in many ways. You know, this man was from Brooklyn as well, but he was 20 years older. He had a lot more experience. He'd done a lot more shit. Yeah. And, well, hold on 1 second. Thing is, there's not many people that can teach me. But this man taught me. And he was like a mentor to me. And we did a lot of business together over the years. A lot of business. We did some dark shit. We did some normal shit. What am I doing right now? Well, I'm sure gangsters will know. But anyway, my mentor, the man who became like my father. You know, when I fell, when I had my nervous breakdown at 38. Hey, what's up, bro? Like me, bro. Like the stream. Welcome back. You're not traveling no more? I'm so glad you're back, bro. Now my fucking dog's going crazy. So anyway, what you up to tonight, bro? I can't wait to have a conversation with you. Nice. I hope you come into my streams. You seem like a real G, bro. Tell me about yourself. Where you from? Nah, I love that, bro. I love loyal people. I'm a loyal person myself. Don't worry about grammar Nazis, bro. Fuck grammar Nazis. Dude, grammar Nazis is some of the most ignorant motherfuckers you ever met in your entire life, son. They don't know shit. They never made no money. Maybe they got English degrees, and I promise you, they don't ever make no money, bro. So don't ever correct your grammar for no motherfucker, including myself. Huh? Fuck that shit. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, it's okay when people make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta read for context. You know, back when I used to make content, when I used to make content, I would intentionally misspell things. I would intentionally do things like that to make stuff look more realistic. So like sometimes I would have girls write like they were straight ghetto ass princesses, using stuff like cuz, C-U-Z, stuff like that, just to trick the guys that much better into going to dating sites, bro. You know? The real G's know the real way that people talk, real genuine people, and how to mimic that. So when you go and correct, all you're doing is really overcorrecting. And in a way, it shows weakness. It shows that you give a fuck. Don't give a fuck, Drina. Don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. You're better than that. You're better than that. So where are you traveling to? You know what I do, Drina? And actually, it's really funny. You see this robe? See this robe? This robe is nice, but look, it's a fucking robe, right? I don't give a fuck. I'll go to the casino in the robe with my slippers. With my slippers. I don't care. Because I just don't give a fuck. The less you give a fuck, the more power you have. You're going to your brother's house. Nice. Drina, you a girl, Drina? You're a girl? Oh, nice. Are you a beautiful black woman? Are you a cinnamon princess? Are you some... You know what people really liked before when I was talking about My pimp cane tribute. People like that shit. Like I got like a whole bunch of motherfuckers in the group when I was talking about that cuck and how he bought me my pimp cane. There was like 10 motherfuckers in here. Oh, anyway, I hope you have fun at your brother's house. Me, I'm just chilling after all. Hey, come say hi for the live. This is my daughter, my beautiful daughter, Luhan, the Princess Luhan. This is Drina. Yeah. No, there's another guy that comes in here named like Ark, something like that. There's a couple people that have really started to like my lives. It makes me feel happy.
Good night.
Good night, baby. So I want to answer your questions tonight, Drina. I want you to interview me. How does that sound? You want to have some fun? She's a good girl, my daughter. You know, she never had a father. I became her father when she was 15. And I've made a big difference in her life. Really trained her, prepared her for life. And I feel good about that. Yeah, I feel real good about that. Her mother's an amazing woman. She healed me, made me better. You know? Her mother's sleeping. She's had a hard time recently because her daughter wants to go to Argentina to be with some boy. But it's a complicated situation, really. It's a very complicated situation, as everything is in my life. Now, here's the craziest shit. Where do you live, Drina, and how much is a pack of cigarettes? How much is a pack of cigarettes where you're at? Do you know? Ish. $5, $6, 30 cents. 30 cents. 30 cents. Kentucky brand. Paraguay, local brand. Kentucky. I think that's backwards on the camera. That's nice. $4. You must be in the deep south or something. Regardless, 30 cents, bro. 30 cents. You want to see the cigarette stash? Look at the cigarette stash, bro. Look at the cigarette stash. Look at the Diet Coke stash. So I love me some Diet Coke, bro. But this is the cigarette stash. Right next to the air fryer. Yeah. I got cigarettes for days, son. And then this is my water collection, right? So like doomsday comes around, I'm set for water. We got some gas for the stove. They don't have natural gas out here, bro. So like you got to connect one of these goddamn tanks to the goddamn stove. When I learned this shit, bro, I was like, what the fuck? And still, to this day, my wife's got to change that shit. I don't know how to do it. I don't even know how to. Oh, that's all my fucking milk for my coffee. This is my snack drawer. So you got all the coffee, all the shit here, all the cookies and shit. Chiquita. Oh wait, Chuchi's gonna come running. Yeah, the doggies wants to. Yeah. You wouldn't happen to be in Paraguay, would you, Drina? I don't ever know who watches my live stream. Sometimes it's people from Paraguay. But then you're talking about going to your brother's house, so your English is pretty good, probably not Paraguay. So anyway, what were we talking about? You have any questions for me? Anybody? Or else I'll just start rambling on about something. You know what we could talk about? We could talk about the Paraguayan economy. That might be interesting to people. The Paraguayan economy is very interesting. It's very interesting. I noticed some things within the Paraguayan economy very quickly. Like, for example, here in Paraguay, they think that gold-plated things are worth as much as silver. Now, in the Western world, we know that gold-plated things are not indeed worth the same amount as silver. However, here in Paraguay, you will get the same amount for a silver ring as you will for a gold-plated ring, for example, or necklace, or something of that nature. In fact, sometimes you'll get more for the gold-plated. And this creates an interesting market dynamic. Yes. In which you can buy gold-plated jewelry for like $3 for like a necklace or something, and then go and sell it for like 15, sometimes more. That was how I supported myself when I first got out here. Times were tough for ProfessorShaun when he first got out here. But anyway, so that's now another thing is supplements. I'll give you an example of that. Here we have 2 bottles of zinc. Okay. One is zinc that was purchased in Paraguay. Now this is only 50 milligrams and only 100 capsules. Okay. Now this sells for approximately $22 here. This garbage. This is from the United States, drop shipped here. Yeah. Now if you'll notice, this is double the potency. It's 100 milligrams. And there's also double the amount of capsules within it. Yeah. And it's also half the price. Yeah. So you could literally make a living just bringing supplements in here and selling them for double. You know, especially if you know what the market's really hungry for. You know, ibuprofen, super expensive here. Like they pay like $5 for like 20 ibuprofen, you know, but like we can get a bottle of, you know, Kirkland ibuprofen, you know, 500 cap for $9. You know, so there's a lot of market arbitrage to be done in the third world as you realize what is lacking within that market. You see? within that market. But what I realized, my friends, is that what's really lacking is access to services. Services that I can provide. You see. What kind of services, maybe you might ask? Are you curious, Drina? Are you still there, Drina? Because it shows no one in the chat. I hope you're still here. Nice. So, good. I'm glad you're here. So what happens is people outside of the United States don't have access to credit card services very easily. Like the simple ability to receive money. Nice. Love you, Drina. They don't have access to credit card services. So like, for example, you want to open a store or you want to sell something, but you're from like fucking Cambodia or something. You know what I mean? The barrier for entry for you is so high for you to be able to get processing for your business. You probably never will, to be honest. And thing is that a guy like me comes along and says, hey, I got you, bro. I'll get you credit card processing. But I got to get paid. You know what I mean, son? You know what I mean? My poor attorney, he just sent me a message saying that his whole body hurts. I was supposed to go over his house for pizza tonight, but he had to cancel, unfortunately. I might have to go and visit him like a fucking doctor. I don't know if this is gonna pause the live stream or not, but hold on, I gotta... Okay. Did I lose you, Drina? Did I lose you? It paused it. Okay. But are you still there? Are you still there? It paused it? Am I here? Are we live right now? I need to know what happened. Okay, you're still here. Great, great, great. I won't do that again unless it's super necessary, but my attorney is very, very sick. And he happens to be my next door neighbor. So I could just literally go over to his house with the live and check him out like a fucking doctor I am. But I'm not actually a doctor, I just am like an internist, really. So like, you know, but these Paraguayans, I might as well be like a rocket scientist if I know zinc. Oh my God, oh, the Pimpkin belt, break the floor, this thing's so heavy. I love my Pimpkin. But anyway, no, when I first got out here, like my aunt-in-law, right? Her knee was hurting her like real, real bad. And I'm like, you know what? This woman, she just needs some CBD. And she took some CBD, totally cured her entire condition. Yeah, totally cured her entire condition. Now she walks normally, everything else. And I'm like the medicine man, you know? I know what symptoms cause what. You know what the thing is, Drina, what actually makes me different from a lot of things, a lot of people, is that I kind of break systems. Because I notice and I see patterns in everything. You know, everything I do, I see patterns. That's why if you look at that video I have on my YouTube channel, where it talks about how 95% of people are just bots, you know, it's because you realize at a certain point that it doesn't matter what fucking color someone likes. Like, it doesn't matter that, like, I mean, it might kind of matter what color they like, because, like, if they like red, they're probably a more aggressive person. But even that is developing the system. It's understanding What makes people tick? You know? Why did you buy the yellow car? What, in fact, why did you buy the yellow car? What's fucking wrong with you, first of all? But why did you buy the yellow car? You understand? And when you can figure out the person bought the yellow car because inside they want to feel happy. When you figure out the reason why the fat girl bought the Volkswagen Beetle is because she wants to be cute, right? You understand? You start to realize that people are really just character profiles, like presets in a role-playing game or something, where like you've got the mage, the cleric, the war, all these different classes, you know? And uh, and then it just turns into a matter of alignment or alignment. No, alignment is sick. Alignment, yeah. Where like you've got lawful good, lawful neutral, lawful chaotic good. You've got you know lawful neutral, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just like D&D, you know. It's really kind of crazy, you know. And you just start to process all this, and you're like, well, okay, this person falls into character type number X20. And I know that they're just going to react to number 1 with number 2, and number 3 to number 5, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know? And at a certain point, people just don't have a lot of mystery. They just don't have a lot of mystery. I tell you, the only things that people really do to surprise me is when they do things against their own best interest, just to spite somebody, you know? When someone will go and wreck their entire existence for no reason sometimes, you know? That shit is fucking sick. Sick, 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 sick. But people do it. Been done to me. Sometimes people have every single reason in the world not to betray you, not to work against your interest. But they do it anyway. They do it anyway. Why? Why? I just don't know. I just don't know. I'm in my wife's room getting my slippers. Where are my slippers? Oh, I'll leave Pikachu in the room. Where are my fucking slippers? Feet are cold. A little chilly tonight. Oh, there are my slippers. My wife bought me these slippers. My wife actually bought me these slippers. And you know what? You see these slippers? These are my lucky slippers. I literally go to the casino in these goddamn slippers sometimes. I swear to God. Don't give a fuck. Thank you. Thank you. They're beautiful slippers. This is my wife, by the way. That's my wife. Beautiful woman. My cinnamon queen. You know? This was made for me, and actually made for my wife by a good friend of hers who is also married to an American, and she is Paraguayan. This is my sister and my niece. My sister is a wonderful, beautiful girl that lives in Las Vegas. She has daycares and also manages my rental properties, or at least she used to. Yeah. That was me on my 43rd birthday in Argentina, my first birthday abroad. This is me and my wife at one of the 7 wonders of the world, this big waterfall. That's our baby Pikachu on Christmas. Yeah. Yeah, some little trinkets. Oh, that's when I put that's when Pikachu was a baby. Look, I put her in a bag. Yeah, put her in a bag. How cute is that? How cute is that? How cute is you don't actually have this on a cup? I'm gonna go find that cup here in a minute. Look how fat I was. So fat. You know, I've lost 100 pounds twice in my life. Twice I've lost 100 pounds. It's very simple to lose weight. All you gotta do is keep your caloric intake under 1,500 calories a day. There's the cup with the bear. Yeah. So anyway, what else is going on? I think I want some more coffee. So what about you, Drina? Tell me about you. What do you like? Tell me. You've been attracted to this channel so far, to me in a way. What attracts you to the channel? Consider this marketing research. You love to draw. What kind of things do you like to draw? So you're an artist. You know, I'm a writer as well. I wrote a book when I was 19. Artists have a hard time in life. Oh, you like chatting. See, now that's my thing. Is I miss the 90s that had something that we called the coffee shop experience. The 90s coffee shop experience. I don't know how old you are, but it was a beautiful time. What you could do is you could go into a coffee shop and people would just be in the coffee shop. And you could smoke and you would buy like $1 cup of coffee with unlimited refills. And like it'd be delicious coffee, new coffees, like maybe like 5 or 6 different flavors. And you would just go around and talk with each other. People that you never met before, like total strangers. This is before the days of the internet, right? You would just like straight walk up to strangers in coffee shops and be like, hey, how's it going? What are you up to? What are you doing? Yeah, yeah, we used to do that, guys. We really used to do that. Seriously. There's a lot of shit that we used to do that we don't do anymore. We lost. We lost a lot in the past 30 years. A lot of the things that made us human beings, we lost. I watched them erode away, dying inside every day as I watched other people die inside. And it's been very traumatic for me, to be honest. To be honest, it's been really traumatic for me to watch the downfall of humanity. I see it coming back, though, to be honest. There's hope for me now. It's one of the reasons I launched ProfessorShaun, November 7th of last year. I think the people are finally wanting to get better, to connect again, to, you know, be a family again, in a way. You know, that they're wanting to, you know, stop the nonsense. Stop the nonsense. Because there's just too much nonsense in the world today. There's just too much nonsense. People don't live in the real world. I think they don't even know what the real world is anymore. Where you can walk up to somebody in a coffee shop and just say hello that you don't know. Or where you can be at a bus stop and just talk to the people at the bus stop, or where you can see a pretty girl and go up and ask for her number, you know. I have action, like, I don't even really speak Spanish, right? But my assistant was such a cuck that I had to get him girls because he was being abused by his current girl. I swear to God. I swear to God. And being cucked. And being cucked. A senior level software engineer, 6-figure salary, being cucked and beaten by his woman. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? Can you imagine? The audacity of the situation, really. The audacity of the situation. So I got him women. First, what is this? Yeah, but in this time, people will probably think you're some back person who's trying to make a comment. No, not really. Not really. The thing is, you just have to be authentic. You know what I mean? Don't approach people with agenda. People are like always waiting for you to try to sell them something or to try to like do something like that. But you also have to be open, right? You have to like be willing to allow that into your life because I bet you people have talked to you. I bet you people have. And you've just let it kind of slip by. And tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, Drina. Have people talked to you and you've just let them go because you thought they were up to something? Yeah. That's trauma. That's your trauma, not their trauma. That's your trauma. You're judging them based upon things that happened in your past. And that's not cool. You know what I mean? You could never what? I'm saying, like, let's say you're in Starbucks and you're just sitting there reading your book and someone comes up and they're like, hey, how you doing? You're going to tell me that your first reaction isn't going to be apprehension, even though that's what you just said. You know what I mean? People are too traumatized. They're too traumatized by like too many bad things that have happened in their life. And maybe you're not, Drina. Maybe that's the reason why you're so open with me. You know what I mean? But like people basically are so broken, guys in particular. And it happened by design. It all happened by design, by governmental design, Drina. I watched it happen. I watched it happening. I watched them divide our country. I watched them try to create, hey, I watched them try to create a society in which people were divided and conquered, not just on a political level, but on the basis of male and female itself, where women lorded over men who could never attain them, and even once they did, didn't garner the reward from having attained them. You see? Now, I never lived that, because I don't permit that kind of behavior in my women. I have not in a long, long time, but I know a lot of men do. You take the actual, like, let's say, environment of OnlyFans, for example. right? Now, I've made a lot of money off of girls with OnlyFans, of promoting girls for OnlyFans, of servicing their accounts, of, I've worked with porn stars and shit like that, servicing their OnlyFans. And there's stuff like that in my journey video. A porn star bought my car, to be honest. You are a bad, not, yeah. I'm not bad. I'm not bad. What I'm saying is, OnlyFans only exists because of the sickness in the world. That's the only reason it exists. The only thing that makes me different, Drina, is that I understand the sickness. I realize I can't fix it, so I might as well use the sickness to my benefit. It's the only thing that's different about me. Look at my eyes. It's the only thing that's different. And I don't really hurt anybody that doesn't want to be hurt. It's just like when I was getting guys to go to dating sites that they might not otherwise have gone to, right? For affiliate marketing, right? Where I would post ads of pretend girls and get guys to go to sites where they would go looking for this girl that never existed. So that way they would sign up for the site and I would get paid, sometimes $6,000 a day. Yeah. So like doing this shit, you realize the sickness is so strong. It's so strong. You'll never break the mind of a simp. I have turned simps into good men, but they have to have it inside themselves. They have to want to not be a simp, like really bad. Because like once you're simping, it's hard to stop simping. Because like your confidence level is so low once you're simping. So the simps go to OnlyFans and everything else, but you know why they're simps? Because you might say something along the lines of, well, they're getting something. They're getting the girls' photos and their videos and they're getting off to it, so whatever. But even at that point, they're bad consumers. Because, like, you can go and get the entire content of any girl's OnlyFans vault for like $4. Like $4. I could, like, literally, you could give me any OnlyFans girl, their ID, and I just send it to my boy, and he gives me their entire vault that I use their content for marketing for $4. $3 if I buy 5 at a time. Yeah. Seriously. And you're paying $25 for a photo? You fucking fool. Fool. And you know what they say? A fool and his money are soon parted, right? A fool and his money are soon parted. So, let them spend their money, Drina, right? If they want to change, they'll change. But all they really need to do to change is to have one woman believe in them. But half of the time, the simps are so broken that they think that they can't be with a fat girl or they can't be with a girl that's not so attractive, or else their homies will make fun of them, or whatever. Meanwhile, their homies ain't getting no ass. So if you're fucking some fat girl, but your homies are getting no ass, well, who's better off? Tell me that one. Riddle me that. Who's better off? I'm gonna empty my ashtray real quick, because that's just nasty. So anyway, point is, first, you have to learn the art of being with women. Exactly. You know, the guy with the girl is better off than the guy without the girl, no matter what the girl looks like. At least he's got a partner. At least when he's walking into the house with all his groceries, he's got 4 hands instead of 2. You know what I'm saying, Drina? That's what I'm talking about. He's got a teammate, a soldier, right? Now, I know when I was young, I needed a special soldier. And I just worked my way up the ladder of soldiers over the years. To be honest, Trina, hundreds of soldiers. Hundreds and hundreds of soldiers. And all the soldiers did different things. Some soldiers sucked my cock for an hour on the couch while I drank coffee and smoked cigarettes. Some soldiers would go around full time to ATMs and withdraw my cash. Some soldiers would go around to my prostitutes and pick up my money. Some soldiers would open accounts for me. Different soldiers would do different things. But a good partner where you both eat together. That's what you need. And does it matter that she's 250 pounds as opposed to $120 with double D's? No. In fact, the 120-pound girl with the double D's, well, she's going to be an insubordinate soldier, I promise you. I promise you. When you give her an order, she's not going to listen. Huh? I tell you. You know, my wife. You got to go, Drina? Oh, just give me some wisdom. I love it. Preach on, sister. In this generation. Let's hear it. I'll make some more coffee. The fucked up. There are a lot of girls who just care about the money. Yeah. Yeah, girl. I know. We're gonna see, Drina, if we can drum a few people into this live. And I'm gonna give you some wisdom from the Notorious B.I.G. Have you ever studied the Notorious B.I.G., Drina? Because I am a disciple of Biggie Smalls. Me and Biggie, we both from Brooklyn. You know? We got them Brooklyn values. Them gangster Brooklyn values. All right, listen. I known a whole lot of bitches in my lifetime. I've been blessed with the game. Always say the right line. Had a few prostitutions if you knew the truth. They like pimps. You can't let them do it to you. She ain't no sucker. I know that rich man, that bitch man, she wanna be a pretty woman loving a rich man. Now you can come, drop top riding. You ain't no pimp, fake brother, stop lying. She makes money. Stick to the business. Think about the real motherfuckers that live this street life, pimp shit. Make the hoe respect the game. You bought her diamonds and cars, trick, that's a shame. Say what you want, but I still figure she left because you couldn't be like them real expletives. She was a hustler by nature, and you was just faker than the average chimp, and she found a badder pimp. A lot of wisdom in Biggie. And I tell you, I was prostituted one time. Some girl laid the prostitute game down on me real good. Got into the network, Drina. Made herself invaluable. And then exploited that. You know what I mean? When a girl becomes too valuable that she can't be replaced, well, it's a dangerous time. You gotta love that woman. You gotta love and trust that woman. You know what I mean? And I loved her, and I trusted her. And she, Drina, at the end of it all, 11 years, she told me she didn't love me a day of it, not one day. It was all an act. It was all an act. She broke me, that woman. Turned me into a little nub of a man. Made me go into a hole so deep that I thought I'd never recover. You gotta take some risk. No risk, no reward. And to the victor go the spoils. But you come back if you're strong. You know, I talked with somebody today, a good friend of mine from Argentina. Talked about my fall, you know. Talked about the fall of ProfessorShaun, where I went from making $450,000 a year to making 20. And so a lot of people never get back in the game, Shaun, he said. But you did. Respect. A lot of soldiers never get back up, he said. A lot of soldiers. They just never find their way again. And it's not the guy that wins that ran the fastest. It's not the guy that wins that is even the most talented, you know? The guy that wins is the guy that gets back up and gets back up and gets back up and gets back up and gets back up. You know what I mean? That's the guy that wins. Yeah. So, gotta keep on getting back up. Are you trying to get right back up? What are you doing with your drawing, Drina? What kind of stuff are you drawing? You know what I like, Drina? And I've had some good friends that have drawn some good stuff like that. Is fantasy art. I love fantasy art. Like Boris Viejo was one of them. You know, like dragons and stuff like that. Really cool shit. Draw things from shows and humans like to get better. Gotta get better. Yeah. Well, at least you're doing like real stuff. That's cool. It's hard to get paid as an artist. That's cool. It's good you're good at drawing. But just listen, I'm a good writer. I'd written my first book by 19. I wrote some really good poetry when I was young. Won some awards. You want to hear my award-winning poem when I was 15? But The Light of Fallen Angels. The blast that shook the ground so mighty, the course of events to come has come so rightly. For all humans' pride, for angels' continued flight, for all the heavens' glory, and for the moonless nights. To see once more the moon glow bright, to have our minds at last see that light, for that prize alone men of evil will fight, but still we the chosen will overcome. As they use tools of war and know not from where they've came, they decide to hurt all people, good and bad the same. Those men of strength and vision they call insane, and indeed we're not the same, but still in the end we the chosen will overcome. And they will fight, search for us though we hide. Some of us they find, and thus are we tried. Their torch is great, their attitude snide. They ask us questions and say that we've lied, but still in the end we the chosen will overcome. Then the final end comes, and at last they know their fault. Our minds themselves are weapons, and our anger's taught. We laugh in their face, for we have all they've sought. The pain of the chosen, of the pain we've bared, they will know all of our pain, for all they've given will be shared. Then comes the end. The evil are dead. We have won, and we now bear the fruits for all that we have done. Oh yes, we are chosen. We have overcome. That is The Light of Fallen Angels. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have about 20 books coming out, to be honest. You can always stay tuned. We're gonna see how cool this stand is. If I can actually charge my phone and have it on the stand. Which I think I might be able to. I think I might. Hold on 1 second. Indeed I can. Can you see me, Gina? I think you're the only person in here. No one else has said a word, and, well, it says only one person's in here. So it's just me and you. I don't know why the algorithm doesn't like me tonight, but it liked me enough to give me you. And that makes me happy, Gina. I could use somebody to chat to. You know? I hope you catch out my live streams in the future. Make sure to like and subscribe and make the bell or whatever to where you see when I come on. I do a lot of lives. I have to do like 4,000 hours worth of content scene before they'll let me do monetization. So even though I have 420 subscribers, that's not enough for YouTube to allow you to make money yet. You have to do your time. So I'm doing my time. Let's see. Delaying gratification, as we talked about earlier. I can tell you're a little guarded. You don't want to tell me where you're from. And that's cool. But I do hope that you're doing well and that you're in a good economic region. Yeah. If you're not, realize that I lived in 20 cities looking for the perfect place. And you really got to find the place that feels like home to you, dream. I hope you're in that place now. Nice, Trina. Nice. Although, it's important to have a side hustle. Remember, your side hustle is your insurance against your main hustle. Yeah? Because you never know. You never know. Never trust an employer. Personally, I learned that very early. Very nice, Trina. Well, if you make that kind of money, then you're probably kind of invaluable, which is a good position to be in. Just make yourself always invaluable, But you seem to be good at that, making that kind of money. Send some my way. I have a donation link. But end of the day, I'm a little overwhelmed, to be honest. I've got way too many coals in the fire. But the thing is, the beautiful thing about that is that they're all just going to start popping at different points. I'm going to start earning income from this, and this, and this, and this, and that. And then eventually I'll be making that 10 to 20 grand a month again or so. And I live in like a third world country. So like I'll be super rich. Super rich. And me and my wife will have a good life. And I'll just do my YouTube nonsense. Become a little more famous. I get subscribers when I do promotions from the in YouTube promotion where they just give impressions. Like, a lot of people like my shit when they see it and subscribe to the point where, like, some of my videos, like, I'll get like 30 cents a subscriber, which is like well below the $1 to $2 per subscriber ratio that most people get. So really, having 20,000 or 30,000 or 50,000 or 70,000 subscribers is really just a matter of tossing enough money at some of these money-making campaigns, And I really don't need too much money, to be honest. I can just put money wherever I want because Like, I have rental properties and shit that pay for all my basic expenses, even my food and everything else. And, like, I don't have to do shit, really. The only reason I have to do shit is that I have money for, like, fun and shit. Because I like to go to the casino, like, every day if I have my way. But, like, I like to spend, like, $60 in the casino sometimes. Maybe. In fact, maybe I'll go to the casino tonight. That would be cool. You want to go to the casino, Dina? What are you up to? Like, how long are you going to be on that? No, I can't. My phone isn't charged. Yeah. I've got like 10% power. My wife would be pissed anyway. Hmm. Where you winning 243,000? Oh wait, are you saying in local Paraguayan currency or in like in dollars? Because that's a lot of money to win in 1 hour. And your brother must have been like betting incredible amounts of money to win that much. That's crazy shit, maybe. Who knows? Crazy shit has happened. Mm, mm. There's one time I was in Vegas with my two girls, and I was playing this Monopoly machine, right? All of us were. There was like this row of Monopoly machines. And I just like playing it. And I have so much money at that time to where like it wasn't important. But then like I lost like $1,500. And I was kind of pissed, right? And I went and I told my girl to go upstairs and get me 5 grand. And I told the other girl to come with me. And the girl went upstairs to go get the money. And the girl with the other girl, she's like, "What are you doing?" Right? And I'm like, "I'm gonna make that money back." Right? And so the girl comes down with 5 grand. And I go over to the roulette table. And the cool thing about roulette is if you play it right, you've got a 66% chance to win, right? Because in roulette, you can bet on one of 3 rows, right? And that, like, if you bet on 2 of those rows, well, you have a 66% chance to win of the time. 1 unit. Because you hit on one of those 2 rows. You'll always lose on the other. But you're covering so much of the board that you'll win 66% of the time. And you'll win approximately 33% of your bet. You see? So I put 2,500 and 2,500 on 2 different lines, and I hit. And I hit 4 times in a row that way. And then I walked the fuck away. And then I walked the fuck away. And I went back up to my suite. And that was the money that I had lost in Monopoly, plus some. And that was the story of Arizona Charlie's that day in Las Vegas. I had a lot of fun in Arizona Charlie's. You know, Arizona Charlie's in Las Vegas, they used to have these $3 steak and egg specials after midnight when I was a local living in Las Vegas. And me and my girlfriend at the time, we would go down there. We were so poor at the time. It was back when I had just started out in the world. And sometimes I'd get 2 of them, and she'd get one. So it'd be like $9. I get 2 steak and egg dinners. She'd get 1 steak and egg dinner. And it would be a nice little time. Drink some coffee afterwards. You know, if you do things right with your partner. Oh shit. That's unfortunate. If you do things right with your partner or significant other, this phone keeps on falling because I'm trying to bring it closer. All right, there we go. If you do things right with your significant other or your partner, they'll be like your best friend, really. You know, you like spending time with them, you like talking with them, hanging out with them, smoking a bowl with them. You know what I mean? It's more than just sex. It's more than you know, more than a lot of things. And when you spend a lot of time together, like me and my wife, we don't work. We just spend all day, every day together. It creates a kind of bond. You know what I mean? An unbreakable bond. Would you mind, Drina, in dose? You can only take so much of it? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that you've never felt that way about somebody? That you could spend 24 hours a day with them? I bet you that if you were my girlfriend, I bet you that you could spend 24 hours a day with me. Because I'm pretty fucking entertaining. I'm a fucking clown. A real bona fide clown. Let's do something, Drina, to try to get some more people in here. Join me back. Look at my channel in like 1 minute and join back. And let's see if we can get some more people in here.